for hopping on. Guys, listen, before I even have Celena talk and share, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about Celena Gill. Guys, she's an amazing Renaissance woman. I have the privilege of knowing her personally, but I'm always just in awe of all of her professional endeavors and projects and programs and her business in general. She's an amazing woman. But before I go on, Celena, can you please tell our listeners more about yourself?
Hi, my name is Celena Gill. I'm a life coach, a lifestyle consultant, a life expert. All those titles all mesh into one. By training, I'm a teacher and an attorney, but just organically through all my experiences, I end up becoming an image consultant and a life coach, where I help women uncover their fears, discover their bliss, and recover from their past. So uncover their fears, recover from their past, and discover their bliss. So I just help them get through the muck that holds them back, the muck that clouds their thinking, the muck that stops them from achieving what God designed them to be. And I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 4 and a wife of 1. I have 4 boys, ages 16, 10, soon to be 8 and 5. And my household is very busy. I'm also an entrepreneur, not just in the personal services, but I'm a creator. I have a T-shirt company, an apparel company, and I also do home crafts. So I'm busy a lot.
And you know what, though? You're such a great example of women not losing themselves after marriage and like after kids, because and this is no knock at anyone, because I think that as women, we have to follow our own path, and there's no like one particular example, as where years before we would just kind of do what our mothers did. But, now, unlike any other time, women are free to, again, follow their own paths. But I really appreciate the fact that you are a devoted, dedicated mother, but you're also, and wife, of course, but you're also dedicated to your own path, your own passions. And I think that's an amazing thing because, and again, this is no mark against anybody, but you do that so well. So how do you balance those two?
It's not ever a 50-50 balance, because I think that you have to do what, you have priorities. Some days you have to be you have to put being a mom and a wife first, and then put business on the last. And other days you switch. You have to have your business owner hat on, and then mom and wife come after that. I think that because I have a supportive husband, I'm able to do a lot of the things that I can do. Mm-hmm. Because I have a partner and I have a network in a village. If I didn't have that network in village, when I needed help with my kids, I don't think I'd be able to be daring as I am. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times women get pigeonholed into not having someone to help them when they do have a passion and they work a 9 to 5, and they might be a single mom or they might be married, but they don't have someone who believes that they can be beyond just a mom, or just being a wife, or just being an employee. And when you don't have at least 2 or 3 people in your corner, because you're gonna need people. You're gonna need someone to cry. You need to cry on someone's shoulder when things go wrong. You need someone to pray with you. You need someone to encourage you. You need someone to help you with the kids. Mm-hmm. You need all this. And if you don't have those people in your life, you can feel like you're drowning. You can feel like you're always, you wake up to work. You wake up to work to take care of kids, and there's nothing beyond that. But then what happens is your kids eventually get older and leave the house. Hopefully. Sure. They get over and they leave the nest. And then you just have you to deal with. And because you haven't really cultivated what you love to do, you find a lot of women who are lost. They have no idea who they are once their kids leave the house. And, I mean, that's okay in terms of you're still able to find out who you are. So it's not completely hopeless. Just because, you have to spend the majority of your time working because you don't have that network doesn't mean that it won't happen one day. Sure. I just hope that people can realize it now, that they have to start cultivating something other than just being a wife and a mother, because that's just a title. It's part of who you are, but it's not who you are. So, God gave everyone a passion and a purpose and a talent. And some people are super talented at being a wife, and some people are super talented at being a mom. But I honestly don't think that is your only talent. I think that's a skill and a function, and you learn how to function in both of those very well because, there are tips and there's resources. You learn how to function just like it's a regular job.
Yeah.
But you have something other than that. You're bigger than that. You're much bigger than that. So once you figure out what it is, you're able to balance and nuance it the way you need to nuance it every day. Like today, I wish I would have been, Saturday, I wish I would have been out, frolicking.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a T-shirt order that I need to get out today. So I spent most of my day making T-shirts so my kids watch TV, study, play indoor soccer because it was raining, wrestle, Legos, clean up,
Sure.
and I tried to manage them as I was doing that, but I had my husband come in and out who also helped manage them. But if I didn't have that, to do that today, I would have been probably mom would have been first. But
Sure.
because business had to be done because that business is what pays the bills.
Absolutely.
I ain't got
Right.
the soccer ball to play with, and we can have the snacks and snacks they eat up.
Exactly.
So and they understand it. They completely get it. They completely get that sometimes mom has to work, sometimes dad has to work, but they also understand that when it's their time, it is their time.
So now, what do you tell women who may feel like, well, you know what, I don't know what my passion is or my talent? I mean, what do you tell some of your clients?
What brings you absolute joy?
Mm-hmm.
And there's always one thing that brings you the most absolute joy. And if you have a hard time figuring that out, then ask people, what do you think I'm good at?
Mm.
What is the thing you think I'm good at beyond, just working?
Mm-hmm.
And it might be a skill of working. You might be a great communicator. You might be a great, diplomat. You might be a great problem solver. And those things can transform into talent.
Mm-hmm.
You might be very analytical. It can still be a talent. Maybe that means that you're able to put, you're able to solve situations that most people can't solve because they don't, maybe you're a creative thinker. And that's a huge talent to look at a problem and say that, A and B, might work, but it might not be the best, fit for the problem. Let me think creatively and how we can most efficiently solve this problem. So there are talents. They don't have to be, people think of talent, they think they're sing, art, and,
Yeah.
and like arts and music and,
Right.
those types of things. And those are talents for sure, but those are just a type of talent. I mean, being a scientist is a talent. Being a lawyer and being able to argue effectively and use law to your client's, best interest is a talent. So there are other talents that don't include, being able to, sing like Beyonce
Sure.
or paint like Basquiat. And I think that people put so much pressure on what they think a talent is if they just realize it's what you love to do and what you do best. Like if you could get paid for something, what would you want to get paid to do all day long?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, so they say, you know what, we're not going to pay you for it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that thing you would still keep doing even though you wouldn't get paid?
Exactly. I think that's such a good thing to find out because even women who may be working a phenomenal 9 to 5 or even, and here's the thing that some people don't want to hear, even if people are working in their own business and they don't love what they do, but they can find something else that brings them that pleasure, that's something they should really pay attention to. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that, especially being a woman, we lose ourselves because we put everything and everybody first. And in many societies, now I can't say most, in many societies, that's how women are reared. Women are reared to nurture, to care, to put other needs first, to serve.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with serving others. It's what we do as, children of God. One of our, commandments is to serve. But it doesn't say completely forget about yourself while you're serving others.
Wow.
Serving is, God's plan, but doesn't mean that I'm going to serve to the point where I'm no longer, can't even recognize myself.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't understand. I mean, unless you choose a life of serving others, because some people do choose professional careers where that is their passion and their pleasure is serving others.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, most people, that's not their passion and purpose, to serve others, whether that be in the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be teachers, whether that be, working with sick. That's not everyone's passion. Sometimes it's just a job. Some teachers, it's just a job.
That's
It's
real.
not their passion to serve children.
Absolutely.
It's really just a job.
That is real, and I think God calls us to be well-rounded. I remember it was so funny, on our honeymoon, we were at this little kind of like an outside fireside chat thing, and we were in Aruba, and so one of the I guess like the MC, he was just doing a chant and had the music come on. It was so funny. I thought I was getting my dance on, and Charles
Mm-hmm.
said, "Wait a minute." He said, "Oh my gosh," he said, "Sade, you're doing a church dance." We just cracked up laughing. He was like, "Oh my God, I gotta take you out, boy. You're doing a church dance," and we just fell out because it just been, been saved for so long, and that kind of thing. I mean, and I really do enjoy like church programs or what have you. But when the devil, when God basically saved me, he took a lot of things out of my repertoire. So all my little worldly dance and stuff like that. So I was doing my two-step. And he was like, Shawty, you're like doing a church dance, but my point is, I think God calls us to be well-rounded, and that we can be able to enjoy certain things, and that it's okay. You can have a passion outside, like you're saying, outside of serving others, and that it's totally fine, and that we should give ourselves permission to do so.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think that once you can celebrate who you are, because I know I wrote a post on my public page about sometimes I don't take time to celebrate my success because I'm so driven that I'm always looking for the next best thing in terms of my life and where God has in store for me. I think that once we can sit back and really just understand that moving forward is a step towards success. And sometimes it's the simple act of waking up and moving forward and being able to live through, the day is a simple act of moving forward. I don't have, I have struggles like everyone else, and it's not like I wake up and say, roses and caviar and whatnot. I struggle, and I talked about this on my personal page. I still struggle with depression, but because I know that I recognize it, I know what it is. I've seen it in my family. I know when and how to get mental health and mental health therapy. I did suffer postpartum depression with my last child for the very first time. I mean, I've had depression before, but postpartum depression is like a whole nother beast. It's
Wow.
crazy. It's a whole nother beast. And excuse me, actually took medication during that. And so every time I took medication for depression, because I've been able to see therapists and been able to cope with it without medication, but I'm not, I'm not averse to medication. If you need it, then take it. But I'm able to look at myself and say, especially, you get to a certain age and you're like, I've wasted all this time worrying about things that aren't important about my life.
Right.
I wasted all my time worrying about what people thought about me.
Wow.
When the only person whose opinion matters are really two people, God and me. That's it. Now that, I'm married, so now my husband's opinion matter. That's a whole other story, But
sure.
Outside of that, there's no one else's opinion who really should matter to affect my life. That should, that I should listen to what someone else has said, and then doubt, the talent that God has given me and what He has in store for me. And I think when I was younger, and we fall victim to that when we're younger because we want people to like us.
Yeah.
We want people to accept us. So it's easy to fall victim to that. But as you get older and you realize that people are going to accept you, either yes or no matter what you do. Either they're going to like you or not.
Wow. And, I was, the post that you mentioned, if you could give a little bit of, elaboration to that. First of all, I was so touched by the post that you recently made on your personal Facebook page. Could you just kind of share a little bit more about that post?
I just saw that it was a post about how Black women have high rates of depression but very low rates of treatment. There's an article about that, and the post I talked about, I live with depression daily, runs in my family, and the problem that I ran into was, the last therapist I had didn't think I was depressed because I could get up out of bed and function. She put that Black superwoman mentality on me because, being a Black woman in America, we're stereotyped as being tough and having no pain and being, just forging through it all. But we just hurt like every other ethnicity out there. We feel the same amount of pain, whether it be emotional or physical. That's truly a myth. Because of our circumstances, we've had to endure a lot more and persevere in spite of. But that doesn't mean that we hurt any less. And I think that, especially because of than societal ills. Like, we deal with a lot of racism, and call it
Yeah.
what it is, you know. And I say, being a Black woman, we're almost on the lowest rung of society
Wow.
in terms of, advancement and
Mm-hmm.
wages, respect, yeah,
Sure.
honor, and it can become completely just overwhelming, and to deal with, you're trying to break out of the mold of the stereotypes that have been placed upon you, but you still want to have a connection to your family, especially if they're not, if you don't have the same ideals about life as your family. Like, I love my family.
Sure.
Some of us have the same ideals, some of us don't, just like a lot of other families.
Sure.
But I think that when you decide to leave some family traditions behind, there's some stress that comes with that,
Right.
because some of those traditions are used to self-medicate the depression that runs in the family.
Yeah.
So some of those traditions also are communal traditions. And so when you decide not to involve yourself in that, it's almost like you're breaking away from family.
Wow, that is a powerful thing. A powerful thing. It's so funny because I know a lot of us, a lot of our listeners, including myself, can recall there are times where people want to feed you, or if you are, you know, perhaps someone that may be around people who drink alcohol or whatever it is, they'll want, well, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you eating with me? Maybe like, I don't want to go to the buffet and deal with my issues. I'm already having issues. So no, I don't want to go to the buffet with you. And it's almost like, well, what's wrong with you? Or, do you think you're all that, or you don't eat with us anymore? And you're like, I am
Mm-hmm.
drowning. And that is not going to help me. I'm not going shopping with you. I am not going to the buffet with you. And I'm not going out for drinks with you. I want to
Mm-hmm.
like read a book or something, or I may want to go get some rest. I may need some R and
Mm-hmm.
R, but it's taboo if I don't want to go hang out. And I'm talking about with family. I'm not even talking about
Mm-hmm.
necessarily with particular friends, if you will. So I definitely can attest to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that especially in the Black community here, depression is now not such a stigma.
Hmm.
Because before it was like, you ain't depressed, just go pray.
Right. Oh,
God will take care of
whoa,
it.
girl.
You know,
Yes.
and and it's like, okay, and then there's a feeling of confusion, because you're like, I'm not supposed to be depressed, because joy is in the Lord.
Hmm.
I'm not supposed to be sad.
Hmm.
What should I be sad about? I'm living and I'm up and I'm walking.
Wow.
And it's like, no, boo boo. There's a reason why God created different positions like mental health therapists and
Yes.
and licensed clinical social workers to help you go through those times. I mean, I'm sure that if there were a name for it in the Bible, some people were depressed.
Sure.
They were. And I think that once we stop putting such a negative, connotation on seeking mental health treatment in the Black community, a lot of us would be better off. We wouldn't be so angry. We wouldn't be so bitter. I mean, there are things that happen to us that doesn't happen to any ethnicity, clearly because of the color of our skin. And that stress, that anger and resentment and stress and bitterness builds up.
It does.
You get tired of being watched in the store. You get tired of being stopped
Right.
by the police. You get tired of, people treating you differently when you walk in the room.
Mhm.
You get tired of someone hearing your name and then already have an assumption about who you are.
Wow.
You get tired of going somewhere with the kids and you have to, make sure that they don't think you and your kids are stealing something.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That is
and that's
so
just
much.
that comes along with it.
Right. That's so true. So funny because, one of the things that I try to do with my kids, and, hopefully I'm halfway successful with it. When I think about, you talked about just the things that are inherently our experiences as Black women. I think about just the things that are just kind of, unfortunately, are embedded in our collective psyche. In other words, like you talked about, no, we're not stealing or what have you. I was in Target, and I'm telling you, I cannot count the number of times the security came around us. We were in the makeup aisle, just kind of looking, and I was comparing eyeliner or something I was doing. And I recognized who they were, but I didn't want to make the kids feel like they were being watched. So it was kind of a balance, because I don't want to teach them those things, the things that our parents unfortunately had to teach us, like, okay, well, this person is coming around. But at the same time, I do want them to be aware, because now, unfortunately, and I don't want to go on a tangent here, but, now people can frame you. So, you could be very well minded
Mm-hmm.
your business and someone could frame you. So you kind of have to be aware. My dad used to always say, well, Sade, if you're not stealing, then don't worry about it, which I can see. But at the same time, now you have, some people who are not quite right, who are not quite integral, who will do something like that to a person, just, put something on you or blame you or accuse you of something that you didn't do. And so you do have to be concerned about these things. And that can be just stressful. I mean, a walk in the store, just walking through the store can be just stressful, and all the bias. And then talk about a big family. I mean, I have 3 little ones and I get that. I mean, we're walking hand in hand, or I may have 2 in the shopping cart, and I get the looks like, oh, you got a big family. Okay, well, what's up with that kind of thing? So all the different things, I mean, it can be very stressful. And then if the kids are acting up, okay, that's stressful. And so all the different things, and this is just a walk through the grocery store. And I am just like ready to go lay down somewhere after just an afternoon at the store. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And knowing that it's okay to take a break. Like with my kids, I'm like, Mommy needs to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand that, but it's also teaching them that they have to take breaks too.
Yeah. Absolutely. We
No,
have our time, our bubbles. I call it mommy time, or Maya time, or Patrick time, what have it. We have our little time. So you also teach your children that too, as well. You're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And also, my kids know that if they need to talk to a therapist, it is completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of my kids, almost all my kids, have been to therapy for various reasons, and it might be something that happened to them. It might be dealing with a learning disability, but so they can know that they're not, weird.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing kids don't want to be. They don't want to be weird.
Yes.
That's okay that you think differently. It's okay that you feel differently. That's okay. And learning how to deal with that and accepting those emotions and feelings and moving and still moving forward. And I was telling my son, I said, you know what? I used to think I was the weirdest thing when I was growing up. And I used to always want people to like me because I thought I was the weirdest thing. But then I realized that it's okay to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I realized it's okay to be weird, it was okay to be me. And then I didn't seek so much acceptance anymore.
Wow. That is awesome. I mean, even when like I said, look at all your accolades, et cetera, what I notice is that, you are a Renaissance woman, boldly and unapologetically, a Renaissance woman who is not afraid to use all of your gifts and your talents in such a masterful and strategic way. You talked about your coaching and lifestyle consulting. I've seen you on TV. I'm flipping the channels. I'm like, wait a minute. There's Celena. Can you tell us more about your TV experiences? I've seen you on TV, woman.
Okay. Well, I'm on TV sometimes. I've been on TV various times, but most recently it was as a lifestyle expert for the Bill Cunningham Show, where I provide advice to the guests after the segment. After they've had their they talked about the problems, and we talk about solutions. So I give my 5 or 10 minutes of solutions of the whatever problem they had when they came on the show. And that was an opportunity, that I had. That's another conversation about networking and building relationships and community.
Wow.
But I love those type of opportunities because, one, I get to spread my influence. It's bigger than, the social media or any event that I may speak at or that I've organized. But also, I think that people need to see positive images of Black women on TV. Not just, even though they're coming on, fighting and baby daddy and DNA, at least there's this Black woman at the end that says, look, we can get through this. Wow. And that it's not just about the sassy Black woman. Like, someone called me one time and said, girl, you so sassy.
Oh.
She wasn't Black.
Oh.
But she meant it as a compliment.
Sure.
But it wasn't.
Sure.
That wasn't a compliment. I understand you meant that as a compliment.
Wow.
You just kind of sounded, you want to say that I'm, kind of spunky. I'd rather take spunky than sassy. Right. Because sassy Black is like, heads, cracking and snapping and whatnot.
Irreverent and somehow inappropriate. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, she thought she was saying something nice. I didn't really, I didn't want to make her, I didn't want to water down a compliment. Sure. She thought she was complimenting. But I love the TV opportunities. I try to get them when I can. Like I said, 4 kids and 1 husband. we keep a very busy schedule because my children are also involved in activities. But we also try not to I try not to overstay myself. I do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's natural. And we also try not to overschedule the kids. Because we want them to be kids. Like today, they were truly kids. All
Okay.
day long.
I
All
understand.
day long.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So we try to we don't want them to get addicted to the world. Like it's
Wow.
not. We have technology in our house, and we try to limit it. We try to limit TV. Like today, yeah, y'all can watch TV today after you clean, do your chores because mommy's busy and then the cartoons and stuff on anyway, and because we monitor what they watch.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they're done their homework, they're done their chores, so you can watch TV. But we try to limit the influence that we can because we can't limit everything. It's impossible because they're going to go on the bus and somebody has a smartphone that doesn't have, like our kids have smartphones that have, what do you call that? Those
Filters.
things. Yeah, restrictions.
Uh-huh.
And they go on the bus with kids that have zero restrictions on their phone.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there are times they're going to be exposed to things. Like they'll come home and like, Mom, guess what they were doing at lunch? I was like, but you weren't doing it? No, I just was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, but you weren't involved. No, I know, Mom, I wasn't. And then even like stuff they see, like you can't even watch anything without screening it. Like let them watch anything without screening it. And like we have a policy now. It's like if we take them to a movie, one of us got to see it first. Or like we have to find out because even though it's PG-13, PG-13 is encompasses a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, it does.
Like when we were smaller, PG-13 meant somebody might have cussed more.
Sure.
Maybe.
Now it's illicit,
Not
right?
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're like, oh my God, they said the H word.
Right.
Now, not anymore.
Wow. So now, with some of your clients and just in your work, what are some of the ways you work with clients? I know you have workshops that you do. Do you do one-on-one service? Just kind of tell us some of the methods that you work with your clients.
I do one-on-one. I do group work. I speak at conferences. I do workshops. I primarily love doing workshops because one, you get everyone in one setting.
Mm-hmm.
I like working with individual clients. I've done that less lately only because of the apparel side taking over or taking a lot more time. Because when you do one-on-one individual counseling, I like to be able to really pour into my clients. I like to give them the time and the research that they deserve and that they're paying for. So I've kind of weaned off one-to-one.
Okay.
I like to do group sessions. So if I'm having an event, that's when I want people to come. But I still do one-to-one. I still have clients that I talk to every week that I see progress. And I think the biggest thing about one-to-one, especially if you're doing it via phone and they don't live, locally, is helping them to recognize their successes and seeing it in person. So I love it when a client calls me like, you know what, I took your advice and I took that step. Because a lot of it is fear. I mean, point blank, 90% of the reason why people don't do the things they do is fear. I'm scared, fear of being rejected, fear I'm not good enough, fear that they'll say no. I mean, the worst thing they can say is no. And I even tell myself this. The worst thing they can say is no. So send that email, make that call, make that connection. The worst thing they can say is no. Is it going to change my life? No, if they say no, but maybe they'll say yes, and that might actually change my life.
I was reading one of your posts, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but it talked about when people say no, they're not necessarily saying no to you, they're saying no to that particular task, so don't take it personally. I know I may have paraphrased that a bit, but I was so, I really appreciated that because so many times we do take it personally and we think it's a rejection of who we are, and maybe it's just that only our service, that task during the season.
And I think it's really hard for people to get that. Sometimes what you think is for you is not really for you. You know what I mean? It's like you really want that thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's for someone else because that thing happened for someone else.
Yep.
Like you see someone else who's doing what you want to do, and they're achieving, and they're getting this, and they're getting, they're making money, and they're getting all the things that you think you want. and you try to duplicate their path, but it's not working for you the same because that path is not for you. Not saying you shouldn't be doing whatever it is, that they're doing that you want to do, but maybe their path is not your path. So you can't duplicate everything they do thinking you're going to come back with the same success.
And
And
you're
I've
so
always told
right.
people don't hire me because of my, of my education, or have my experience. They hire me
Mm-hmm.
because of my personality.
Wow.
That's just point blank period. They hire me because they like me.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when or they've heard something about me that they like and they inquire. But they don't like, some people buy my shirts because they like me. That's
Wow.
it. Not because they see the shirt and say, oh, it's a masterpiece. They like me.
That's powerful.
That's why we buy things from celebrities. You see some celebrity that we like hawking something, you go out
So,
and buy it.
yep.
Because we like the person hawking it.
Wow. Your t-shirt, your apparel company, speaking of, there was one post that went viral, and it was the Black Love Matters. And I just love that post, and I just love the imagery and so forth. And then you mentioned that the apparel company has kind of just taken off. So I applaud you for that. So what inspired you to start this line of business?
I have been doing creative things for forever, all my life. From decorating rooms when I was little. Like, I wish we had smartphones back then. It's like my husband doesn't believe. I had a yellow and white room. When I tell you that yellow and white room was to die for,
Mm-hmm.
I make sure everything in that room was yellow and white and clean and pristine, and my dolls had yellow and white on because I just had an eye of a creative eye for what I like.
Mm-hmm.
So it extended on into after I got married, because you do that school thing, you get obsessed with school and track and
Mm-hmm.
all those things. Some of those things fall to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
So after I got married and we moved into a home, all those things kind of just reinvigorated,
Mm-hmm.
and I started decorating again. I started drawing again. I started. Always had a fashion plan, so I've always been creative in what I wear. But I would see other people's items, like I can make that.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I see furniture, like I could do that. So my husband was like, "Well, do it then." Because you get tired of people saying I can do that. Do it.
Yes.
Do it. Stop saying it. Do it. So I started making shirts last summer. And it was just for football season because I didn't like the T-shirts that they had for sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started making some shirts for football season. But then I was like, let me just do some message shirts. And it all started with I picked a power statement for the year. And the power statement for this year actually was make power moves.
Mm.
And I made a pillow. So I want a pillow to just make power moves. I want to see it every time I walk, I walk downstairs and walk up the door. I want to see that pillow. So I took the negative space in the pillow and made a T-shirt. And then I was like, anybody like this T-shirt? Y'all like this T-shirt?
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody said, yeah. Where can I buy it? I said, oh.
That business person, business mind came in.
And then I said, oh, it's for sale. And then I said, I'm an Etsy shop about a week later. And it's been going very well. I do a lot of custom work.
Mm-hmm.
More custom work than what I do. I do a lot of custom design. And I'm now working with Etsy to get it, in wholesale. I reached out to a couple of editors in magazines, so hopefully you'll see them in some magazines in the fall. But a lot of this is very organic. People like it, and they reach out to me.
Wow.
And then I do have, because of my networking community, I do have some opportunities to have the shirts on people when they're on TV. I just got to follow through with them. I got to make sure I follow through. But I feel like this is the one business that will actually be my legacy. And it also allows me to still speak to people, still speak into their life, because I like to write. I write these personalized cards. I write a personal card for everyone who buys a T-shirt. You're going to get a handwritten note from me.
Wow.
Because one, I want to thank you for investing in my vision,
because
because you didn't have to sow your seed into into what I do. You didn't have to, but you did. So I just want to, if nothing else, I'm thanking you for that. But also, I like to be able to inspire others. To give some words of encouragement, to give a few words of wisdom, and to also let them know that if I can do it, you can do it.
Wow.
Because I feel like I'm just a little girl from Virginia, with some country parents, and I saw a vision beyond what people saw. Because if you sit around listening to what people say that your life is destined for, you'll never get to your true life purpose.
Wow.
So I knew And it wasn't that it was a bad thing. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
were like, go to college, get a job, get married, make some money, which is the standard American,
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. But I saw more than that. But the thing is, when I was younger, I just didn't know how to get more. I didn't know how to do more. So what I tend to do now is I try to speak to, especially college age women,
Mm-hmm.
to help them develop, to the point where they don't have to wonder when they graduate. Now you get a 9 to 5. I'm never saying don't work a 9 to 5,
Sure.
but while you're working that 9 to 5, develop that other thing. If your 9 to 5 isn't the thing that you really want to do,
Mm-hmm.
start developing that thing while you do your 9 to 5.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. And like you said, because, I like to think about our work as like life work. I talked at my kid's career day the other day, and I talked about like life work, that whether it's working for someone else or you're working your business, if it's your life's work, if it's your life work, then it should be something that drives you. And it may be working with someone else or for someone else, and it may not be, but to make sure that it's something that you really care about and that makes you happy. So I love that
Yeah,
point.
and it's crazy because you're right. It can be completely be working for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't have to be. Everyone doesn't have to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone doesn't have to be. Hold on for a minute. I think I have a child knocking at the door. That's
Oh,
mother life.
I totally understand. I had a visitor a little bit ago, so I totally understand. But this is great, guys. Aren't you guys learning so much with our guest tonight? She is just helping us get unstuck and kind of helping us kind of sift through all the noise that we often hear, especially in the world of social media. I was talking with a good colleague today, and we talked about the noise. I mean, there's so many gurus out here, so many. Let's keep it real, and this is no shade, guys. So look, no emails, but there's so many. I would say manufactured gurus, right? Some of them, I've worked with some people, and they want a flashy banner or a new website, but what I cannot create for them, okay, is the substance. I can help them define it. I can help them come up with a strategy, but what I cannot do is create substance. And so, in the world of Facebook and other types of social media, where everything looks perfect, everything looks right, we have to make sure that we have that substance and we have that passion, that we're actually happy about the things that we're doing, as opposed to just it looking right. It was so funny because today I showed my husband this hilarious post, and it was I think it was called like Insta fake or something like that, but it just kind of compared and contrasted scenarios. And there was this young lady, and so she had her camera, her smartphone, and she kind of went around doing the things that we always see. We see, for instance, someone photograph their shoes and they may be holding a glass of wine, but as soon as she took that picture, she bust out crying. She had her pajamas on, but what looked like this interesting selfie that she was just at this great place was her in her bedroom and she was crying. And then she was walking by, and then there was a gentleman there, and she kind of held her phone up, and she looked like she was, I guess, taking a picture with him. And this was a perfect stranger. So many times we do this where we have the look of success. And again, it's nothing wrong with acting that thing out, if you will. In other words, I mean, of course, we want to live in a way that makes us feel good, live in a way that certainly can be an example to other people. But that thing has to be real. It has to be real, guys. And, in a world where there's so much fluff and so little substance, it's important that we all do our own part, okay? Because it's nothing worse than to have flash and no substance. And so, tonight we've gotten so many, PowerPoints, if you will, and so much richness from this conversation. And this is what these podcasts are about. And so I'm so grateful to Celena while she handles her mommy business. Like I said, I had a little visitor, a little 5-year-old visitor myself. And so I certainly can attest to that. But, we're so grateful. And Celena, where can folks find out more about you and how to contact you and what have you? Like, what's your website and all that?
You can go to SelenaGill.com. That's CELENA Gill.com. You can go to my Facebook page, A Celena Gill, Twitter, Instagram. Not on Snapchat yet, but apparently I need to get on. But I'm on every social media, platform as
Mm-hmm.
Celena Gill or Celena Lynn Gill. So if you see me, there's another girl named Celena Gill up there. She doesn't look like me. But
Okay.
basically a brown woman with fluffy curly hair. That is me, Celena Gill or Celena Lynn Gill. So all avenues always lead back to my website. So
Wow.
you can find me on my website, and it'll lead to my Facebook, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and it'll lead back to my website.
Wow, Selena, thank you so much for spending some time with us.